Okay, so I'm just doing a voiceover on this for this video. Hit that like and subscribe if you can, please. So my buddy here picked up a new Redcat Ascent here, the one with the red body. Obviously, that's what we're looking at. He went through and pulled the internal springs from the front and rear shocks before running it here. We pulled out the really terrible stock ESC that comes in these trucks. So we removed that. That's pretty much all he's done to this. It is on a FlySky GT3B radio. He has switched over to that, and it does have a Hobbywing 1080 G2 ESC in it. He is running the stock Redcat motor that comes in the Ascent. So worked pretty good. He didn't have his drag brake completely set up here for this video. What you see coming up here is our usual rock test that we pretty much always do. So you'll see this truck here. It'll almost get it to the point, but there's no weight added to this truck. Like I said, it didn't struggle too bad though. These tires performed. So he just flopped it over there. It's got the problem that the Ascent has, and it kind of unloads. And that with that 3-link setup on the front of these, that's how these Ascents are set up. He can get up to that one point, and you'll see it right there. It's lifting that right passenger side front wheel. It just wants to unload. Same thing mine was doing before I had to start the modifications. That link riser that I was talking about in a previous video, it all but almost does away. I want to say with like at least 90% of the problem with that unloading, like that right there you see on the front. It keeps the front end planted down on the trunk. That unfair advantage link riser. So I'll see if I can figure out how to link the video of mine running here with this one. But this is the 85 to 88% incline on this rock test that we're doing here. The stock tires actually fared fairly decently well today. It was really cold outside, so rubber compliance and stuff like that changes, with your elements and everything. So they actually done pretty good considering it was pretty cold. So, your tires are going to be stiffer in the cold. You'll just see here, it gets to this point right here, the breakover, where you got to get your back tires up and over. And that's when you're pretty much on the full 85%. And it sliding out when it starts unloading on the front. And it just, rolls right off. So, his battery is still located in the back.
That's steep,
so that's not, doing any favors either.
Right there.
Here you can see how steep this rock face is a little bit.
It always lets that wheel set planted down.
Right here. And you see right there again, you can just see it unloading. It fared pretty well for being a stock, pretty much truck.
Them stock tires aren't doing too terribly bad.
I'm a big fan of leaving the stock internal springs on the front.
Not really. And it's cold
and running the low CT mini springs in the front, and then taking the internal springs out on the rear. But that's just how I prefer mine set up. And that link riser, from Unfair Advantage, can't recommend that part more. No, I'm not really associated with him or anything, but he's a good dude. Totally worth it to buy for one of these trucks.
Definitely already
completely worth it for the 20 some odd dollars that he charges for that part. So here we're over here on our little trail section. I know my filming's not the greatest. I'm, still having problems with my hand and everything, and I'm using my crappy, my wore out floppy.
Taking the internal springs out, really.
Filming like a selfie stick,
pretty good right there.
It's not quite a selfie stick, but anyways,
pretty good, really. Just
it fared pretty well here. This is a good, test for the stock tires. Definitely removing the internal springs out of his shocks right here added a lot better travel. Definitely performed pretty well right here in our spot.
I can already see.
I can see the
bending that
difference
link
between
and
the
shaving
steering
them knuckles
on my
makes a
truck with the
difference
bent link and the
on
shaved
steering,
knuckles.
for sure.
Right here in this spot, but he didn't struggle or have
I
issues
mean,
or
for
anything
sure.
like that, even without that, you know, having that
It's working all right to
modification
me.
done. So this truck actually performed pretty well today out here.
No trouble
on our spot. These stock RTR tires on our little spot right here.
Yeah.
They pretty
There's
much
no
just
weight or
didn't
nothing
really
on that
struggle
thing.
or spin up here on our rock test.
Wow.
So these tires did okay.
That worked really well.
He didn't have any trouble getting up this right here. I don't know what the percentage of the grade is here. It did a lot better here on the side hill spot than I thought it would be coming down.
Don't have that flop and roll.
It actually did pretty well.
Body they give you. Got,
you know, he doesn't have any weight on this truck, like I stated before. So, you know, there's no brass or anything like that on it. You know, things do change when you start adding weight. Obviously, lighter is better, but you know, sometimes you got to have weight down in certain areas.
I usually try to run mine.
These tires, this was more of, you know, just to see what a stock Ascent would do, because we know how mine, you know, pretty highly modified will do right here.
Steer nicely.
So this truck did really well actually for being completely basically stock minus pulling. You know, I'm not counting the. I guess you can count the ESC chain and everything, but
it does give
for
you
the
a
better
little
part
better
of
throw.
You know, basically just, you know, actual chassis modifications, you could say, maybe with just removing the internal springs out of his shocks here. So yeah, I can't see any.
Fine, man.
This thing actually worked really well.
It
really pretty good. Performed better than my filming skills here. But I think he's happy with the truck though. We did notice, you could see here in a couple spots, you'll see coming up with the battery location in the back. You'll see, I think this is one of the spots we started noticing really bad. My truck didn't have this once I moved the battery from the slider. And so what you'll see here is you'll see him, you can almost see the battery weight in the back and being kind of mounted up a little too high. Right there it is, and it just kind of, there's this spot and then another spot where it gets really bad. You know, the battery weight pushing up when he's descending, you can actually see that the weight of the battery in the factory location kind of pushes against you if you're on a real steep incline. So moving down to a battery on the sliders, I can see is a huge definite improvement that I've made to mine. I could just kind of see that right off the bat. He does get over this spot right here. These tires actually performed, I think, for some reason, it almost seems like these tires did a lot better than.
Yeah, I mean, you're just
like say the tires that were on my blue truck.
Really,
I don't know if they've done something different with the compound of the tires.
It's that
my tires
battery,
didn't seem as plot. Right there's the spot I was talking about, where that battery weight where it's at on this truck just kind of pushed him up, just kind of rolled him endowed.
I mean,
so having the battery back there is not a great idea on this truck. So he's definitely, I think, gonna move you know, the battery weight to that slider, and that it's a huge improvement just moving that battery weight around.
Pretty well.
But you know, we're just testing and tuning, comparing. You know, like you got a stock Ascent, which this truck performed, like I said, pretty well today, and they're a good rig. I don't know why they get some of the hate that they get, but that's just how things go. Just enjoyed a nice little testing,
it's nice,
you know,
just to film.
spot here to see what how a stock Ascent behaves on the area. When I was playing in this spot with mine, we didn't have the course, you could say, set up quite as well. The course was a little, you know, more sketchy. You know, we've worked several weeks.
It's working pretty well.
Moving rocks around here to get
honestly,
this.
Those tires really aren't
where we
terrible,
have it to have our little test section.
Really.
So, yeah, I just thought I'd do a little overview of the video
trucks,
here.
Man.
while he was.
I liked mine.
So you didn't have
honestly,
to hear us
I was
talking,
pretty happy with it.
Back and forth, because we were just bantering and kind of laughing and stuff. We weren't really, just kind of goofing around. So thought maybe I would
See
give
how
you
you
guys
got
a
that
little
lift?
overview of the video.
Now
And,
mine don't do that
here
with
he
that
is
link
just
riser.
going. We just kind of played around a
Quit
little. It was real
lifting
cold
that
today.
wheel
We
up
weren't
like
out there
that.
real long.
Yeah, I think
Once again, you can see how that. I really think if he got the link
Honestly,
riser, would
moving
be
your
one of the
battery and
things I
putting
would
that
highly
link riser
recommend,
on there, I think would probably
to be one of the first upgrades.
You know what I
that
mean,
he
make a
gets. And moving
difference.
that battery over to his chassis slider, but just taking the internal springs.
You
that
may
did
not
make a
have to
pretty
worry
good
about
difference,
adding.
guys. So,
Really
yeah. So
brass.
there we
See what
are.
I'm saying about that
gonna
lift?
quit talking and just let the video run. Boy, my camera mounts